Here's Chris Christie at an audience of brave patriots. He's been giving Trump the business about his corruption and his family's corruption and the Kushner. Let's just listen.
Grift from this family is breathtaking. It's breathtaking. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Kushner walk out of the White House and months later get $2 billion from the Saudis. $2 billion from the Saudis.
He's got a very aggressive speaking style, the way he sort of just gets right up in people's faces. I mean, that's like one of those sort of bamboozly communication tactics that like people like him do. I think he has natural, I feel weird saying it's charismatic, but you know, people who become governors tend to be, wow, that sounds, it's also incredible the kind of nimwits and nimrods that end up doing well in politics. I'm not even trying to flatter the dude, but like he does have I'm sure in person he has that sort of confident stage presence thing that most regular people probably don't elevate to that level. But he uses this sort of physical stuff where he walks around and gets kind of real close to you and stuff like that. And he's from New Jersey. Got to be like that. Got to, you know, beating up people down at the saltwater taffy factory on a Saturday night. That's what they do for fun in New Jersey. I saw Jersey Shore. Okay, I know what's up. He does dance battles.
You think it's because he's some kind of investing genius? Or do you think it's because he was sitting next to the President of the United States for 4 years doing favors for the Saudis? That's your money. That's your money he stole. I
like the idea that the money that Kushner, like, it's good that he's pointing this out to the Trump audience. That's to the right wingers, that they're, you know, they don't, I'm sure they don't give a shit. I'm sure some might, if it even registers, but they don't care. This guy's completely corrupt, selling out the country, getting billions of dollars. But the idea that it's your money, like, we should have got that $2 billion deal. That should have been coming to you and your wife for your kitchen table issues. You could have bought yourself a new fishing rod holder for your boat. Instead, Kushner stole it. It's like it's not like the money was coming. He didn't intercept it on its way to the kids' hospital.
And gave it to his family. You know what that makes us? A banana republic. That's what it makes us. So, he may get 30% again. I'm not sure. Maybe he'll get more. Maybe he'll get less. But let me tell you what he'll know in 2024 that he had no idea of in 2016. He's in for a fight to get it.
See that? He's in for a fight to get it. He leans in. He gets real close to you. Looks you right in the eye. And it's intense. Patreon.com/winners and losers. Okay. That's me trying to use my eye intensity. I've been described as intense before, and I can see that. I can be very intense. I don't like it though. It lasts for hours. I would rather just be a chill pill, a chill bug on a couch. That's all I really care about. Just like, here's my whole thing in life. Can we go home? Is it ready? Is it time to go home yet? We left the house 10 minutes ago. Was it ready to go home? Yeah, I want home. I want a feeling of home. That would be nice. All right. So next one here, Christie this is another Twitter thing. I don't even know what the fuck he's going on about here. Let me just change the camera shot. Okay, here we go.
It was a mistake in 2016 not to confront Donald Trump early. Because I knew that so much of what he said was complete baloney. Like, I knew it. I'm going to build the greatest, most wonderful wall across the entire Mexico border, and Mexico is going to pay for it. Well, like, I knew, as someone who had governed, that was complete bull.
Complete bull.
But I was like, people aren't going to believe that. They're not going to believe that. Mistake.
Yeah.
It was a mistake.
It was a mistake. People aren't going to believe that? Of course not. He knew. Well, did he? Now here is Chris Christie on June 7th being interviewed by the television's Jake Tapper. This is from Governor Christie, the Twitter site or Twitter handle. Do people say handle? When a spoiled baby misbehaves, you send them to their room, not the White House. At his advanced age, it is time to give up hope that Trump will ever grow up. We need a leader, not a child. Let's hear what you got to say, Chris Christie.
So Trump last night in response to you ran a rather mocking video on social media. But there it is. It's you.
It's Chris Christie being holding a big plate of food. It actually looks delicious. What I'm seeing is a burger. Looks like a big bundle of bacon, kind of a big old pile, a bird's nest of bacon, and a large mass of yellow, which doesn't sound delicious, except if you think of it as scrambled eggs. Doesn't now you want to eat it? Now, when I described it as a large mass of yellow, maybe you're not so excited for breakfast in bed. Okay, but if I said I made you some scrambled eggs, here's a bird's nest of pork fat that's been rendered into chunks and a large mass of yellow, you're going to see like, why did I marry this guy? Fuck this guy. But if I say, baby, here's some crispy bacon with some scrambled eggs and a huge burger, you're going to be like, I know why I married this guy. Because of the big burger. And I don't know if these are pancakes or sausages. It's hard to tell, but it's like a track. It's tracked to Christie's like movement. So it looks like it's his hand. It's very poor special effects. Oh, and there's a giant... There's a huge, really terribly presented platter. So this is like, this is added to the video. I mean, I could easily do. I mean, like, here's how I can tell if a special effect is good or bad. If I can do it, it's shit. In a movie, like a lot of times I see movies where they do all kinds of crap, and I'm like, I don't know. There's no way. I don't even think it's just magic to me. It's amazing stuff. But there's some stuff where I see like a thing morph for like a graphic or something, and I can tell like, I could do that. It's usually, if I could do it, it's crappy. I could do better than this. That's how I'm saying. But it is like a stretched out image of what looks like meat in like what a Euro shop might have, like, you know, metal bin, like on the other side of the Chipotle counter, you know, like just metal bins of different meats. So this is what Trump put out against them. And the Chiron says Trump mocks Christie's weight in video on social media.
I guess he's making fun of your weight. That's his.
We're going to be small.
That's his response. What?
That's all it is. It's just this hand moving. I want to see that hand again.
That's his.
I mean, it's rotating. It's got. They're actually pivoting around around an anchor point there.
That's his response. What did you make of that? What was your response to that?
You know, when I saw Jake, it just renewed in my own mind what a child he is. He's a baby. Whenever you want to criticize him, in any way, that's the way he responds. And you and I are both lucky enough to be parents.
Babies don't hire video editors, and I don't know if I call that special effects. Babies do not do that. They poop and they scream and they sleep and sometimes they laugh, which makes it all worth it.
And if we had a child who conducted themselves like that, we'd send them to their room, not to the White House.
Yeah.
And I think character is destiny for this country. And we've got to
no wonder
make
we're
a
doomed.
Decision about what the character of the person should be who sits behind the desk in the Oval Office. And if they're going to do that kind of stuff, I mean, it doesn't even, it's so childish. It's so juvenile. He is such a spoiled baby that, you know, beyond that, what can you even say about something like that? That's that ridiculous. You know, if we want to break news here today, I've struggled with my weight for about 20 years, like tens of millions of Americans.
The devil, you say.
Right, exactly. So he's breaking news there. He's telling people something they don't know. In the end, for me, it's about how you perform as a person.
Yeah.
What kind of heart you have. And I'll put mine up against his any day in the week.
So, right. I'll put mine up against both of their hearts. A 3-heart standoff. I got to get back to walking. I haven't walked in like a week. Just like fall apart. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Trump makes fun of his weight. That's a theme we'll return to. So, okay. Here's Chris Christie. Remember, he was going on about how he knew he was a baby and an idiot and he shouldn't. And so here's Chris Christie, February 26, 2016, headline PBS NewsHour. Governor Christie endorses Donald Trump for president. Oh my gosh. Why would he endorse such a person?
Thank you for being here. I am proud to be here to endorse Donald Trump for president of the United States. I'm doing this for a number of reasons. First is that Donald and I, along with Melania and Mary Pat, have been friends for over a decade. He has been a good and loyal friend.
Him and Mary Pat have been hanging out with Mel and Don for over a decade. In 2016, starting in 2006, they're just real chill people, all pals.
Our family, as we have been to he and his family. And over the years, we've had a lot of wonderful times together, done a lot of good together for not only the people of the state of New Jersey, but for many charities that we've worked with and on together. And I absolutely appreciate him as a person and as a friend. Secondly, I've been on that stage. I've gotten to know all the people on that stage. And there is no one who is better prepared to provide America with the strong leadership that it needs, both at home and around the world, than Donald Trump.
No one better prepared than old Donnie Boy, the guy he knew at the time was terrible. Okay. Oh, this is another quote. I forgot that I did this. This is actually the same thing.
And there is no one who is better.
I had actually done that in order to have that bookmarked, but I just screwed it up. So here's Chris Christie in 2016 again, March 4th. So a little bit later than the one we just watched, or, later, after, I guess. And he's going on. He's at the governor's mansion. I paused it right here because he first starts with something, and then he gets into him defending this Trump guy. Because people are like, what the hell? This Trump guy is such a weird, why is he such a jerk? Why is everybody? Well, because you got to get in line. The hierarchy demands. The hierarchy calls upon you. You're the number one thing a conservative, and I think there's arguably a version of this on the liberal side too. But the number one thing that is required of them is that they have to get in line. This is why the whole DeSantis versus Trump bullshit is such, because they're all just going to get in line, no matter what.
Going to continue to push for expansion of Trump.
Oh, so he's talking about what he's doing as governor. I think he's at the governor's mansion, and then he gets into Donald Trump. But the first thing he says here is expansion of health
charter schools in our cities. And yes, in the priorities, we're going to continue to push for expansion of charter schools in our cities.
I don't have lots but that's the conservative, the Republican project of destroying public education, of making sure that education is only available to those with money, those who live in high income areas, and it's being privatized so that it can fall outside of government regulation in order to further their project of teaching people to be idiots and to also be pliant abuse victims. Not that that isn't impossible, but like the privatizing these things always means decreasing scrutiny and increasing the risks and the potential for neglect and abuse, and at the best case, just teaching kids shit that they don't need to know. Meaning like bullshit nonsense about they don't want to actually teach anything that is relevant. Although, what do you teach? How does a society decide what should be taught? I think it should be up to democratically accountable professionals who study, education and teaching and applying the lessons we've learned, and over time that gets better and we get more optimized and smarter. And of course, I'm for maximizing human potential, and I don't mean that in a business bro sort of way. I think we should incorporate all the different neurodivergent approaches that are understandings that are starting to gain more traction. And children, I think our whole concept of what a school is in a community should be kind of like broadened out into being like, that's like this massive complex of there's a hospital and there's all kinds of training stuff for other things, and schools for education and performances and athletics shit, obviously, but where it's all this is integrated into a world where it's not just producing compliant workers and consumers, where they're just trying to brutalize. I don't know if that's the right word. I was thinking weave. The two words I was thinking was weave or brutalize. What's good about the independent thinking out of people, and just making it so that you put up with the bullshit. What the hell am I rambling about? All right, so whatever. Charter schools. Republicans hate public education, of course. So now he goes into Trump stuff.
And yes, in those 22 days, I also endorsed Donald Trump for president of the United States. And I did it for one very simple reason. That Mr. Trump, who I've known, as you all know, for 14 years, and I made no secret of it during the presidential race, that Donald Trump and I have been friends for 14 years, that I believe that he's the best person to beat Hillary Clinton. I am not a full-time surrogate for Donald Trump.
There you go. Beat Hillary Clinton. I mean, he did become president. He did get more electoral college votes. He didn't win the he didn't win the vote, but he won the election because America's this horrible place. Here's more. Just jumping ahead
with him to announce and reinforce that endorsement, and then I went out on Super Tuesday with him.
Okay, all right. He's saying how much he supports Donnie Trumpy. So then he actually served in the Trump administration. He was the head of his transition department or something. So every president has to move from the previous one to them, and there's like a official like person who like gets all that done. It's sort of a political job, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what Christie did for Trump. Probably angling for attorney general and trying to kiss up to the boss, and of course he did his duty as a Republican guy who they love their hierarchy. So he once the dominance was established, he became the lapdog that he is because he's a craven politician. So here's Trump 7 years ago, May 19th, 2016. So before he became president, Christie's at this event and he's going on about some companies or something, but has a thought that involves Chris Christie. You'll be surprised what it is.
When Carrier and Ford and Nabisco leaving Chicago with their big plant, they're moving to Mexico. I'm not eating Oreos anymore. You know that. But neither is Chris. You're not eating Oreos anymore. No more Oreos for either of us, Chris. Don't feel bad for either.
No more Oreos, you fat fuck. That's what he's doing. He's calling out him for being a heavy guy and, jumping on his Oreo, suggesting I could go for some Oreos. I might go get Oreos tonight. That'd be fucking awesome. I used to go fucking crazy on Oreos when I was younger. I'd get a package, stack up that thing, get some milk. Oh man, I loved it when there was that little slurry at the bottom, the final sip of the milk, and then you got sad because you were out of milk. So here's Trump. Let's just rewind a little bit. No Oreos for you, you big tub of shit. You face a lot.
Mexico. I'm not eating Oreos anymore. You know that. But neither is Chris. You're not eating Oreos anymore.
Yeah.
No more Oreos for either of us, Chris. Don't feel bad for either of us.
Not just, he's such a bully. Don't feel bad. I'm making fun of both of us. Okay, there, you fat tub of shit. Look at you. You look like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade if it was wearing a tie.
But I'll tell you what, folks. There's got to be consequences. When they move, there's got to be consequences.
I hate this guy.
Now, I've watched...
Just like Chris Christie. No, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. So giving him the business because he's heavy and suggesting that the Oreos are the problem. I think it's probably something deeper than the Oreos. I imagine there's emotions. Emotions. The cookies of feelings. Here's one where Christie recounts a story. The headline here, CBS News, 6 years ago. So now Trump is president, February 16th, 2017. And this made the news. The fact that they did a story about this is ridiculous. I guess Christie told a story on a podcast or something. And but it opens with like a real official news person.
And a story from New Jersey. Governor Chris Christie got our attention. He occasionally guest hosts a sports talk show in New York. And in Thursday's broadcast, he talked about his recent dinner with President Trump.
This is what it's like to be with Trump.
Oh,
okay. He says, there's the menu. You guys order whatever you want. And then he says, Chris, you and I are going to have the meatloaf.
He tells you what you're eating.
Yeah, and I said, well, we're going to have the meatloaf? And he said, I'm telling you, the meatloaf is fabulous.
Did you have the meatloaf?
I did.
It's emasculating.
No,
emasculating.
Another man tells you what you're eating, you eat it? Not acceptable. I don't care who
By the way,
it's the president.
It is the president, A.
If the president said, you're eating the meatloaf, wouldn't you be like, I'm an adult, I'll get what I want, thank you?
I would go along with his
You
recommendation.
get the meatloaf.
Yeah, I mean, the guy eats there all the time. You would think, and the meatloaf was good.
Rich people, meatloaf has got to be fucking great. This ain't that big slab of shit your grandma makes for you and your dumb family. No, I'm sure grandmas make great meatloaf, but like they're having their meatloaf made by like 5-star chefs or whatever the fuck, Michelin's, James Beard winners. The amount of food that these or not the amount, but the kind of food that they get to enjoy is something else. The quality of human beings can make amazing stuff. We're pretty good at food. I'm not going to go down that ramble that I'd like to, but
And then he says, Chris.
Oops, sorry. And so so Trump ordered for him. I'm not sure. I can imagine why that would feel emasculating. Definitely, that is definitely a dominance sort of thing. There are certain scenarios where someone's like, "Listen, you gotta try the meat." Like it's like a very strong suggestion, or say, "Hey, let's do that together." Like we'll be the meatloaf gang. Like, all right, yeah, we're getting meatloaf. Maybe that's not maybe I wanted to order the blackened chicken, but I'll do the meatloaf. And so I don't know if I'd call that emasculating. From Trump, it absolutely is. Everything from that guy is about putting you in your place and sustaining the dominance and the subjugation of it all. He's going to be a great leader in prison where he'll form a gang really easily. His personality traits just translate very well to doing fine in being in jail. Not sure at all. He'll have total meltdown, although I doubt he'll end up. At most, he'll go to like the fanciest country club resort type of prison that they have, but more than likely it'll just be like, all right, well, don't leave Florida for 6 months. Then you can go. So, or maybe he'll end up fleeing. That would be awesome if Trump ends up fleeing the nation and living in exile. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. So Trump insisted that he eats the meatloaf, but that's not like a weight loss food. I mean, I guess if you have a plate of cookies or a meatloaf, you'd be like, oh, don't eat the meatloaf. Try and lose a little weight. I don't know. You often put bread in meatloaf. I know that's one way that you can do to thicken it up, but there's so many ways of approaching it. It's one of those, just calling it a meatloaf. We don't even call bread loaf. I mean, we do have that word, but no one says like, oh, I'd love to eat a loaf. I'd love to have a loaf. Well, I would. Nah, you know what? I take that back. That's perfectly acceptable. Although if you ate an entire loaf, that's an awful lot. I guess a small loaf of bread we call a bun, so that no one has to say I ate an entire loaf. They just say I ate a bun or a roll, right? Sudden flashbacks. I'm very hungry. I'm just thinking about all the delicious smelling rolls my mom and dad and my grandma would bake. I didn't know my other grandparents, so I only had a grandma figure. They all died, fucking quitters. So yeah, all right. I don't know what else to say. It's funny. It's just stupid story though. So Christie is I guess Trump's little bitch during this time, and he has to be. Here is Showtime's John Heilman. So he is doing a show. He's a cool guy. This is a Showtime video. For some reason, I thought this had something to do with Vice News. I don't know why I thought that. It's called The Circus, Inside the Wildest Political Show on Earth, with John Heilman. So he's talking to Chris Christie here at a restaurant. This is on Showtime's YouTube channel. La Fiamma restaurant. Italian restaurant and bar. La Fiamma.
Governor, you're a private citizen now. I feel weird calling you governor, although I get you keep the honorific forever.
I do keep the honorific forever.
That part, so this is that very like that's quite a taste. I like it. I like the xylophone, the rib xylophone, maybe a playful bassoon. That sort of documentary drumming kind of noise. This has that timeless quality to it. I don't know. I just don't know how to describe it. But the honorific of governor. This is something American society does. I don't think this is as prevalent here, although I'm sure it's in other places, where once you've had these jobs, you're always get to be called that. Like they still call Newt Gingrich Speaker Gingrich. He was speaker, right? They still like, but like I see it all the time. I mean, it's really annoying. People who are not holding these positions, they still get to be called those positions. They call it an honorific, as if it's some special thing to hold these positions. I think it's crazy that we have that. I mean, I don't know what society would like, how you get it to the point where someone who is a governor or someone who is a congressperson just is that, and then they go away, and then you don't like. Why should we give a shit? Like, it matters because they have important jobs, they have important responsibilities. It's just important, like, decisions being made that have major effects on the world and on other people. So, like, we don't treat the responsibility and the power that a lot of these roles come with with the we don't treat it with respect in terms of outcomes or in who it hurts, but we make a big show about making sure that they get to keep the honorific. Chris Christie gets to be Governor Christie his whole life. That's crazy. They don't call me Caddy Hank. I caddied for a few years around middle school ish. I wouldn't want to be called Caddy Hank. What am I fucking about? I am off. I'm definitely off today. But I find that so annoying, and it's just another one of those ways that like these politicians get to be famous and celebrities and have the trappings of power that follow them around. And reporters of all people shouldn't be playing into that. Your job is not to, well, it is actually, but a reporter's job, especially the types that meet with Chris Christie, who do these sort of like the Rachel Maddows of the world, for instance, they are very much part of the power structure because otherwise they wouldn't have those jobs. But like in its conception, though, the idea of journalism being something where your job is to uphold the power structure like that, as opposed to challenge it, or as opposed to ask, honest, probing, smart questions. But then you got to protect your access. You got to make sure you play the game according to certain rules. Maybe it's a compromise that they don't want to make, but they have to. And it's on the whole of compromises, it's not the largest. It's not like the biggest scandal that I can think of. But it always jumps out at me when they call someone a congressperson or a president who isn't either of those, who doesn't have those titles anymore. It's just weird to me. I mean, it's clearly part of the structures, but anyway, whatever. So then they get into some stuff here. I think I bookmarked. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So they sit down.
You've known Trump for how long?
16 years.
And you still, to this day, like respect?
Yeah. And then
He's like, you know him and you still respect him and like him? And of course he looks away immediately, which is an indication of dishonesty.
Respect?
yeah, and was with him last week.
Right. But let's start with the Bridgegate era.
Yeah.
I just want you to talk a little bit about getting hit with that scandal. Is sort of like what it was like to be Donald Trump, the new president, and getting hit immediately with a bunch of...
All right, we don't need to get to that. But Chris Christie had... now, I haven't done all the reading, so maybe it's been adjudicated in some way, so grain of salt. But my memory of it is that he... to punish a political rival or to get back at somebody for some sort of slight, he made sure to snarl traffic on a bridge using a toll booth or something like that somehow, like placing construction or some sort of intentional disruption that led to a major backup that also an ambulance got stuck in and a person died, I believe. The death of the person is what elevated this scandal. It's kind of stuff that I'm sure happens and has happened constantly in our culture because people are petty, especially the types of people that become leaders in this world. So anyway, let's just jump ahead to the next one. They're talking about some bullshit here.
I've told him many times, and I've said this publicly too.
So he talks about this Bridgegate bullshit, and this is the part where he gives advice to Trump about what to do because he's experienced with dealing with. This is like, oh yeah, you just got to ride the waves. Like old politicians love to be like that. Like, yeah, we really went through it during that time period. We really, like they don't see scandals as like career ending. They're just like rough parts of their career that then they eventually look back on and they talk about it as a battle. As a look, I got wounds from. They're like medieval knights who survive arrow penetrations, and somehow the infection doesn't get them, or the wailing, or the gnashing of teeth.
That when you're in the midst of something like
So he's giving advice to Trump.
this, there's nothing you can do to make it shorter. There's lots of things you can do to make it longer.
Yeah.
And I've continued to counsel him that, talking about things publicly, whether it's, a press conference or a speech or a tweet or whatever, just leads people to want to look more, not less.
So you knew...
So basically saying like, yeah, I've told him not to make it worse by talking. Clearly that's advice Trump did not listen to. Yeah, but he puts it in a way like, oh, look, it could go longer or shorter.
Mueller.
Yes, work for him.
Then they get into the Mueller stuff, and I don't really give a shit about that. All right, come on, let's get through this. We got fucking crash submarines to get into.
I don't think anybody, again, even if I was being really generous, I don't think anybody would say, this has been like an exemplary, well-run White House,
No, and
right?
listen,
I mean,
listen, it hasn't been.
It's been a shit show.
Well,
right? It
I think
was
the first
okay.
6 months were a shit show.
Right. The
Yes.
first 6 months were a shit show.
Right.
This was actually the
it's
question I'm
gotten
getting
much
to.
better.
You think things have gotten better? That they're appreciably better on all of those fronts, even though there's no communications director still, even though there's still this leak problem.
I don't think. I think there's a leak problem in every White House. I don't think that that's unique to this one. I think secondly, he's his own communications director. Donald Trump says, "I want to get a message out. Give me my phone."
Right.
And he tweets it out.
There it is.
As much crisis as the
This was a shit show. He's like, yeah, okay, fine. He can't say it was no shit show. But of course, it all comes back to Trump, to Chris Christie saying stuff like this.
It was a mistake in 2016 not to confront Donald Trump early. Because I knew that so much of what he said was complete baloney. Like, I knew it. I'm going to build the greatest, most wonderful wall.
He knew it.
Across the
It was
entire
baloney.
Complete bull. Who had governed
skipping
that
ahead.
that was complete bull. As someone who had governed that was complete bull. But I was like, people aren't going to believe that.
Oh. Except that you spent much of your time working for him and lying about it and telling people to believe it. Fucking scumbag.